Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Ed. Today I'm going to be talking about AMC. Make sure to drop a like to this video to help the channel grow, subscribe, and leave notifications on. If you'd like to join our free Discord where you can ask me for any clarification on this video, you'll find it in the description below. Let's jump right into this one. So AMC, a company that was fighting bankruptcy and got saved up by a bunch of people on Reddit to hopefully keep this one afloat for a longer time. What I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be discussing a little bit of the due diligence. If you haven't heard about AMC before, it's going to be a bit brief, and then technical analysis where I think it's going to go, as well as how it generally performs. There's a lot about this one. I'm also going to refer to longer term aspects. So let's jump right into this one here. And if we were to look into the due diligence part, we're able to take a quick look into their latest SEC filings. And just to give you a little bit of perspective, this one's seen a short squeeze because it was heavily shorted, alongside with GME and other few stocks here and there, and saw a really nice price action improvement and a nice rise in price action, and they definitely were very smart to make use of it. So just a quick thing here, you're able to see, for instance, their earnings are coming up tomorrow, so on March 10th, 2021 at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's their fourth quarter and year-ending earning conference call. We should be able to get a bit more, perhaps sometimes it's the night before that they do have it in the evening, so we'll take a look into that. In terms of insiders, what we get to see here, in terms of insiders, it looks like some of them have been selling back on the 27th, so Silver Lake Group has sold more than 1 million shares, so you can get to see why perhaps they've been investing, and right off the bat, the price that they were able to sell was almost $20 bucks, $24 top. So that might be something where they realized their profits and that was their price target. In terms of institutional buyers, you get to see on the 16th of February, on the 10th of February, institutional buyers have been picking this up. So in this case, it doesn't look like institution is shorting, but rather longing this one and riding that hype. Moving on, some of their financials, we'll cover that in a second. Now coming on towards the annual meeting that is happening on May 4th. So this is some of the voting stuff that they're going to be doing. So including here to approve the increasing amount of shares to be issued from 500 million to 1 billion. And that's, of course, one of the biggest things is that they need to issue more shares if the pandemic still carries on and their business aspects are affected. We'll go to look into their financials in a minute to discuss that a little. The rest really isn't that much of an issue for us. Really doesn't affect us, whether it's elections for different executive officers, etc., compensations. We don't really care much about that one. So our board has fixed the close of business on March 11th, 2020 as the record date for determining the stockholder entitled to notice and to vote. So if you're holding the stock by the close of March 11th, 2021, you are able to vote, and you will get a proxy vote to share what you think about these proposals that they do have, mainly including the first one would be probably the most important one for you, which is the dilution of the stock shares by issuing them. But I'll explain why I do think that it is important to or why I think it's important to vote yes for it, or why they recommend to vote yes for it based on their financial results in a second. In terms of other news, such as this one here on February 24th, this is regarding as well the annual meeting for May 4th, 2021. Regarding about the compensations, I believe this is proposal number 4. There you go. Next coming up is this one here on January 27th, affiliates of Silver Lake Group LLC, the one we've seen sell a lot of different shares, and certain co-investors elected to convert all the $600 million of the company 2.95% convertible senior secured notes due 2026. And for that, they sold, it was converted around $600 million, and there was a result of an issuance of 44 million shares. And you get to see that the conversion price was around $13.51. And that's exactly what we're seeing there. Next, this one here is regarding towards the offering or the shelf offering for 550 million shares. Now, meanwhile, this 50 million shares doesn't really have a direct effect on a market such as the one we're in right now, but it's something to keep in mind regarding an additional offering or in the shelf itself. The next coming up is towards their January 24th, and this is regarding converting their credit facility. or credit line. So here, let me just go ahead and read it for you. The term loan facility will refinance Odeon's existing £100 million revolving credit facility and provide additional liquidity of £300 million. The funding of the term loan facility, provided the commitment letter is contingent on the satisfaction of the customary conditions, including the execution delivery of facility agreement governing the term loans facilities in accordance with the terms set forth in the commitment letter and the consent of affiliates of Silver Lake Group. And we've already seen that conversion happening, etc. And around, I believe, $600 million, which I believe in that sense is the £400 million. Moving on, this was another proposed aggregate offering that was at a price point of $250. The amount to be registered was $50 million, and if you were to drop $50 million by the amount they have right now, that is a massive amount of offering in terms of raising that much capital. And then the next thing here we have is AMC Entertainment. We're going to be looking in, it's the same AMC, by the way. We're going to look at market cap statistics and their financials. So in terms of the market cap, you're looking at $3.56 billion. That is quite interesting, but if you were to look into, let's say, a 5-year perspective, and you're looking back into 2019, it definitely, the current price before the pandemic was somewhere around, I would say, $10, $11. Currently, it's sitting at $10.54. In terms of statistics, the price over sales on this one is 141. Price over book is not available here, and it doesn't look like it's the case here on price over book as well. We can't find it. There has been different downgrades, for instance, with the price points. I believe the target price is 251. Short flow is around 17%, so it's not as high as it was before. Institutions, I don't recognize that there's a lot of shorting in that sense, but I'm not sure exactly what their ambitions is. Moving on, so we get to see on their financials perspective, 2017, 2018, 2019. So this is pre-pandemic. In terms of 2017, we get to see that their net income was negative $487 million. 2018, we look at $110 million. 2019, pre-pandemic, was negative $150 million. So we get to see a little bit of perspective that they were actually struggling. Now, current to date, it will be above almost perhaps $4 million. In terms of the last quarters, you're getting to see that while in the first 3 months, and a lot of it didn't really have the pandemic in the first 3 months. I believe we got hit with March, so it did have a portion of that. Was negative 2 million. And that, well, actually, sorry, not negative 2 million, my bad, negative 2 billion. And then negative 561 million on quarter 2, quarter 3, negative 905. Yes, a lot of this was the pandemic, and completely understand that. And what I'm trying to see here is how much is their balance sheet's debt. How much do they need to raise for that total current liabilities and total assets? Their current total assets is almost $13.7 billion. Their total liabilities here is around $12.46 billion. So yes, they're almost net positive, and they have the ability to put on more shares into the market, especially with the price point being this high and skyrocketing. They're able to sell a lot of shares, and they're in a better position to prevent bankruptcy by just issuing more shares and selling them at even just the price of the market itself. That'll be very much sufficient to make sure that all their debts are paid. So let's jump right into technical analysis for now. Now, if you haven't done so, please make sure to subscribe and leave notifications on. It helps my channel a lot. If you haven't joined our Discord, consider doing so. Now, on a 1 week perspective, we get to see that the 10 SMA is actually above the 30 EMA, and that's a bullish thing. The price point here that we're looking at is 662 on the top and 549 at the bottom. That's the trading action zone where positive reverses are likely. The current price point of the 200 SMA is at 1164. Above there, you're fully bullish. Now, the MACD is actually retracting back up, and that's a bullish thing. The price point isn't even overbought at this level. It's just neutral. And in terms of the ADX, it shows a very, very strong trend around 39.46. Above 40 to 45, that's really, really strong trend. And consider selling somewhere around 45 to 50. Now, on the momentum part, you're looking at the momentum part is actually increasing, and that's a bullish thing here. Now, on a 1 day perspective, you're looking at an MACD that has just gone bullish. It was attempting a negative reversal 2 days ago, and that got rejected. Momentum is positive. ADX shows that it is overbought at this point. And the ADX is, sorry, William percent R, that is. The ADX here is showing that there is a possibility of another trend following. 10 SMA is above the 30 EMA. Yes, that is bullish. And the trading action zone is between 879 and 739. Positive reversals would occur in that region, as you get to see it did happen in this region as well. 50 SMA is above the 200 SMA, and that's a bullish thing. Now, on a 2-hour perspective, what we get to see is that this one is really showing insane momentum on a 2-hour perspective. Momentum is skyrocketing. MACD looks bullish. William Personas, in fact, is not even overbought in this level. It's actually sitting neutral. And you get to see that each 2-hour candle is actually a green candle. So it really looks bullish. 10 SMA is way above 30 EMA, and it looks like it doesn't have any kind of resistance in that sense. On the moving average band, what we get to see is that 809 is the top, 736 in the middle, and 662 in the bottom. That is where it's expected to trade. Now, on the Bollinger Bands, it's 1056 in the top and 415 in the bottom. Currently, it's within there, so we don't need to worry about it retracting, but you might see a little bit off, more of a retracement towards the Bollinger Bands. It looks like it does like the Bollinger Bands more than it likes the moving averages. Now, in terms of stochastic fast and stochastic slow, both are showing that this is it's outbreaking. It is moving further. Just be careful here. That's what it's saying. And for this, we need to look into Fibonacci retracement. Significant resistances sit at 1114. 1331, 1641, and 2036. Significant supports 896, 627, and 191. And we can go ahead and just try to find significant supports and resistances using price line actions. We get to see the current support is sitting somewhere around 926. Following that, 795. Dropping down to 668, 538. You're looking at 359 and 266. Significant resistances are only a few. You got the 1099. Let's go ahead with the 1 month, 2 hour. And we get to see right off here. 1119, I would say, is another one. We're not able to look further, so we're going to do 3 months. And you're looking up towards the 1333, and from there on to 1599, and from there on 1724, and then 1989. So there is a lot of room to grow there. Now the quick question is, what do I think is going to happen here? And in terms of a short term, this can actually really go higher. It's a little bit of a risky term, but take a quick look into where it was back before the pandemic drop. It's currently sitting above there, and that is currently, I would say, on, let's go ahead with September 2019. I would say kind of that is a price point where a lot of people were still believing in this industry itself. They didn't do well, and they did go back to October 2019, and they're sitting back to where October 2019 was. That was pre-pandemic. Demand wasn't so much there. Competitions like Netflix, Disney Plus, all these companies are coming up, and they're really taking off that industry by whole. So it's a little bit of a risky industry long term. In terms of a short term, this one can easily go to 20 bucks with the amount of hype and the amount of sentiments behind this one here. Just like GME, it's not going to trade just on it's not going to trade on fundamentals, because fundamentals, that industry is hurting. It is going to trend on hype and volume and momentum. So keep that in mind. And if you're playing this, make sure to have tight stop limits, and have a wonderful day.